October the 19th, 2025. Guys, you're going to be the first ones to see these images besides Tina, myself, and my Huskies. A couple of days ago, the newest images from Atlas 3i came in from Gemini North. Now, we saw some earlier, a month or so ago, from Gemini South. Now, Gemini South, if I'm not mistaken, is down in Chile, big observatory, but Gemini North is on the Hawaiian Islands up in the mountain where you have a very clear view. And there's no tail. They're actually calling it an anti-tail. Now, I'm going to pull this up. But, guys, I put it through my software, and it's a very unbiased software. I'm going to pull this up. Look at this. What do you see? Comets, or the object atlas is moving to the left. They're calling it, it has an anti-tail now here. This is just a glare. This is an anti-tail, which is no tail coming off the other side. Now, I'm going to increase it. But guys, what we are looking at, again, I did not take one section like you see in the center of whatever we are looking at. Look at this. Does it look like an egg, an embryo to you? Now, see three objects. Let's get this a little closer. And I'm going to show you a couple of different pictures. But look at this. This is in that main center. Remember the HiRISE instrument that was around Mars orbiting, and it took an image, and it was a group. You could see definitely it was more than one thing in that group. And this is the very center of it. Let me back it back out again. Look at that. No tail. And let me explain again. I went through filters, but not in the entire image, let me say, was filtered at the same time. There was no isolation of something here and then something here. But when I got it down, what I wanted to see was in the very center of this. And so you have a glow, you got different metallic output, things like that. It's non-commentary. It's not a comet. But guys, you know, there's the ancient tales of a cosmic egg. But I'm not saying that's what we're dealing with here at all. And inside this, it's either four sections. It's actually the larger one that's right there, then these two elongated ones in this image. And then you can see a kind of a lighter center here. Again, nothing was separately changed. This is what it looks like in the middle of it. These are amazing. Again, you can look at the cosmic egg theory. I don't know that much about it at all. But again, this was in the very center of it, and we have been told that as those objects were coming over, that one object peeled off course close to Mars. It doesn't say it was headed to Mars. It just took advantage of that area to separate itself. There's also reports, and I haven't validated, I haven't found the validation yet, maybe when we get some new images in, that the entire group changed course at that point as it was passing over Mars, just right in that time zone that the entire object changed. So that's going to change the JPL. They haven't changed it yet. It's about to go behind the sun. But I'd like to hear your opinion. Let me show you just one other image that went through our computers, guys, and we were the first ones using this technique to tell everyone that Comet ISON had multiple nuclei. In other words, it was a group of large rocks or objects inside the coma of Comet ISON. Most of the scientists said it was going to hit the sun, which would have been a disaster. It would have been like the fourth angel. And I said, no, it's going to miss it, but it's going to, because of the multiple objects, it's going to disintegrate because of the centrifugal force as it's pulled around the sun. And ISON was coming in as it came across Jupiter between there and Mars at 1 million miles a day. Then it sped up to 11 million miles a day as it got real close to the sun. The gravity was tearing through it, and then as it made that U-turn, it tore it all to pieces. Now, they're saying that I think the speed calculated of this object now, it can go from New York to Paris in 9 seconds, that speed. Pretty fast, isn't it? Moving quite fast. But so, that hasn't varied much lately. It has picked up speed from what they initially rated the speed. That's one of my solar panels. Excuse that, but the initial speed was a little slower than it is now. Now, we don't know why, but many people are saying that this thing is controlling itself. And if you think about it, if you were going to if you were going to try to have an object or a group of objects not being directly affected by the gravitational forces of the sun, how would you do it? You would create a gravitational force or force field around your object with the opposite polarity, and it would negate that. It would make it almost no gravity. You see what I'm saying? Almost anti-gravity. And that technology, guys, was probably used to move some of the larger stones in the megalithic period that we saw. Now, this is the phase just before I dug into what was in the very center of it. Check this out. Different colors, different temperatures, things like that. And you're seeing this green glow. Now, these colors, we really can't go by what they're saying. It's just part of the filtration of digging through and looking at the object. But notice this red band around this side of it. And then we'll go back to the first image. But then as I zoomed in, looked closer, then we started to see inside it. And these would be great screenshot images for you guys to save. I'm thinking about getting a picture of these and put on the darn wall. I've never seen anything quite like it. And as I pull this up again, look at that. Look, before we peeled it in and saw the inside, you can kind of see it right there. Let's get it. See that main section? I know it's hard to see, especially if you're on a phone and all. I've got 32-inch monitor here in my studio. But definitely not a comet, guys. No tail. It has an anti-tail. And so, again, I'm going back to possibly whatever it is an ion drive. And that's why you're not seeing an ion tail or a debris trail behind it. But that's why we're seeing lights. And again, sometimes when you see just the object, it's one light. But then when we look closer, there's groups of objects inside there. So what you're seeing is if you had 20 cars coming at you from over a mountain from miles away, it would look like one light until they got close enough to you. You could tell that they were different objects. But guys, I'm not going to keep it long. I'm still trying to get used to these glasses. It's getting better, and I may can get an update coming in this evening. There's a lot of things I want to talk about, different things. But I thought that we would come in and look at these new images, and it gives us a whole new perspective. I want to go back to that first one for just a moment. Now, many of you know a friend of mine, Rex Barrett, the Elite Project, and he doesn't have these filtered images because they came through our system, but he has some interesting images also of this Gemini North photography. And I've just taken these a few steps deeper. But guys, I really don't know what to say. Sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words, and sometimes you can't even find the 1,000 words for that picture. Again, not a comment. I'd like to hear your opinion. Again, this is a fair rendition because certain areas were not changed differently. It's one solid movement. As we move through the filters, the whole thing would change to get down to the very core right there. Again, I'd like to hear your comments, guys. We're watching it. Watch for updates. Again, eyes getting a little better. Heads up. Be safe.